What is up, everybody? Welcome on into Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm your host here, Andrew Cooper. And folks, we got playoffs here, fantasy playoffs. And for that, we had to bring out the triple box, the trifecta of the greatest minds here at Fantasy Alarm Football. Howard Bender with me, Jon Impemba in the house today, because we got a very special event here, fantasy football playoffs. We're going to talk to you a little bit about the different formats, and then we're going to get into our favorite contest, the FFPC. Boys, how are we doing? Yeah, if you want to play at FFPC, Howard's got it right up there. Hit that QR code. Go to myffpc.com. Use promo code ALARM. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. And I'll tell you a little secret. I had some of my guys here in the back room do the top secret math that we can't do. If you deposit $45, and then they give you the 25, that gives you $70. The contests are $35, the cheapest ones. So that gives you 2 entries. The one we're doing today, though, is the Big Kahuna, the whole enchilada, the $200 entry. This one has monster prizes, $500,000 prize for the top. The $35 one, you can win $100,000. So that's also a monster prize. But this is the big one. So, boys, are you excited? You fired up? Have you embraced the New England spirit, Howard? How's everybody doing?
I have not embraced the New England spirit, and for that, I'll just cover you up here with a QR code, another QR code for everybody out there. And actually, the link you go to is fantasyalarm.com/FFPC. That's the link you go to, or you zap that QR code that's pleasantly hiding most of Coop's face. Right? It looks like Kilroy hanging over the side of the fence there. Right? Or Wilson for you home improvement fans over there. But here's the best part about, yes, the $25 off is absolutely fantastic because I'll tell you what, there's a $35 contest and a $200 contest. The $200 contest, $500,000 grand prize. So $175 gets you $500,000. Or you do the $35 one, you take 25 off, and then it's $10 to win $100,000. I mean, come on now. Seriously? Seriously? $10 to win $100,000? So I absolutely love the contest. It's definitely one of my favorites. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm super fired up about these playoffs just because we're getting some new blood in here, right? Yep. There's no Chiefs. There's no Ravens, right? We don't have to sit and pick and choose over there. Dallas is not in the playoffs this year. So we don't have to worry about guys like CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens or choosing between them. I'll tell you what, man, I think I've got some interesting takes on that. And we've got some videos that are popping out on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page that are going to kind of guide you through it. But I'm telling you, I think I'm fading the team. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about fading.
We're going to get to all that. We go team by team here today on the show. We're going to lock it all down. And we got Jon Impemba with us, which is huge because in the FFPC, there's no draft, there's no salaries. There's one rule, essentially, one major rule. You can only pick one player from each team, and that's your team for the entire contest. So picking the quarterback is crucial. That's why we brought in the quarterback guru, Jon Impemba, today to make arguably the most important decision of our lives here with $500,000 on the line. So, Jon, do you think you can handle that task?
Yeah, listen, I've been kind of weighing it myself, trying to figure out which way I want to go with this. It was a few Super Bowls ago where I actually woke up one day and realized, I made a lineup for FFPC. It was like going into the championship games, championship weekend. I just remembered that I had FFPC in the $200 contest. And I was like top 5, top 10. It was the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl. I had Jalen Hurts as my quarterback. I had Travis Kelce as the tight end. They end up going to the Super Bowl. I ended up splitting with like 35 of my closest friends, like 5. I took home $5,000. So like, it was like a 3rd place overall prize with like a whole bunch of people. Had I like pivoted off of Kelce, I think, and gone to a different player on that team, like a receiver, something like that, might've been a full takedown. So I've had success in this tournament. Quarterback is definitely crucial because you want your quarterback at the end. They always scored the most points. So you try to find the quarterback that you think is going to be there, at the end of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you know what? I'm switching over to the Fantasy Alarm hat. Let's all channel all 3 of our powers.
Here we go.
Here. Let's go. Fire up the engines, baby. So folks, There are a lot of different contests out there. There's best ball if you want to play that. I've got an article on that. There's one and done contests. I've got an article on that. And Howard is graciously hosting a contest that seems like it's got a lot of people in there. I joined today and I was assigned 119.
Sending out well over 100. I don't even know how many are in it right now, but sending out invites to everybody there. If you want in on our Fantasy Alarm one and done, it's a free contest. Our friends over at RT Sports have graciously they're hosting it and they're offering up some bonus cash to play in some of their their pick'em contests and stuff like that as prizes, and we're of course going to give out some Fantasy Alarm subscriptions to probably our top 5 based on the number of people who are actually in it. So maybe we'll give out one lifetime subscription, and then we'll kind of trickle down from there. So we'll figure it out. I'll just email me, rotobuzzguy@gmail.com. If you tell me you want in on that one and done contest, put one and done in the subject heading, and I'll get to sending out those invites. Been doing it every single day so far.
You'll have to face down my team. I did the article on it, and Sally's Psychic Soldiers have officially Psychic Sally Soldiers, Howard, have officially entered the contest. That's my team name. So look out for me in there.
Sally Morgan, she knows her stuff.
I emailed her. I was like, look, I know you're busy, but I got a playoff challenge contest coming up. So with that one, you make a different lineup every week. And once you use a player, they're done. This one works differently. I'm going to show you guys real quick just how the lineup looks like here. This is what we're going to be facing down.
Right. Look, I don't want to forget about this here, right here. Comment from Maddie Strauss. Where is mine? I got mine.
Mine's right here. I keep mine close because I won 4 leagues this year. I'm gonna give myself 3 more chains.
There we go. Let me just pop that sucker on here. That's right. The winner of the Fantasy Alarm one and done contest also gets one of these chains. Maybe the person who comes in last, the person who forgets to set their lineup, maybe I get you a I suck at fantasy football chain as well. But our good friend, thank you, Maddie Strauss, and thank you everybody over at USA Sports Fan Chains as well. This is going in as one of the first place finishes as well. And if you guys want your own, we've talked about these before, right? Here's the QR code again, hiding Coop's ugly mug. Go to fantasyalarm.com/USA chains. Get one for your league winner. I've already got, I've got stuff going in for several of the leagues. Man Smart, Woman Smarter League, the Dirty Laundry League. Everybody's getting a chain this year. You want in on the hardware here. So that's fantasyalarm.com/USA chains. And it's use the promo code ALARM. It'll take 5% off. But I think they're still in that range where we're going tax-free. So might even save even a little bit more. And these are more economical than anything else on the market. USA Sports Fan Chains, the place to get it.
Let's go. So yeah, while we're in the chat, why don't we say what's up to everybody? We got Greg, Jerry, of course, and Dunn, Hope in the house. I wish Restream would let us put the emojis up here on the screen, those fancy emojis.
What does the vanilla bean emoji look like? I might have to go check that out over at
YouTube.
On the YouTube.
It was up in the chat for everybody in there. And yes,
Hope has it's a picture of John eating an ice cream cone. I love that.
Beautiful, dude. Yeah. So yeah, if you want access to those emojis, hit that join button and become a member of the channel here. But yeah, Icy Through's already got a couple lineups in. Everybody's rocking here. So let's get into it and kind of explain how it works. We're going to go team by team and kind of break down who we would even consider. And what I'm going to do is after the show, we're going to take this show to kind of create all the guys you want to consider. And then I'm going to take those and put them in an article. So these players are all going to be stamped by us on the show, put in an article, breaking down everything for you. But here's what the lineup looks like when you get in there. It's, again, you can only pick one player from each team. It's PPR scoring, and it's tight end premium. So tight ends score 1.5 points per reception. You don't get bonuses on the yards. You don't get bonuses for the touchdowns. The quarterbacks, it's 4-point passing. And also in this format, the only other thing that's maybe a little different than some of the others, they don't really care much about turnovers. Only -1 for fumbles, interceptions. So if you're worried about having a gunslinger quarterback, don't worry about it. Those guys are just fine. They can turn. Josh Allen can have as many arm punts as he wants. this week in this contest. As for things you want to keep in mind for the contest, I have an article up on general strategy, and I just want to point a couple things out. There's 14 teams in the playoffs. There's only 10 players on your roster, as you can see here, which means, or actually 12, including kicker and defense. So you're going to fade 2 teams completely. 2 teams you're not going to have any players for. Also, historically speaking, you do not want your kicker and defense to go far in this tournament. So we call those a soft fade. So you're essentially picking 4 teams that you don't think are going to go deep. 2 of them you want no players on. The other 2 you kind of want to pick kicker and defense. We have seen teams with a kicker and defense finish top 10 or so if their defense makes it to the conference championship. But really, for the most part, you want them eliminated this week or next week. No team has ever won this challenge with their kicker or defense making it to the Super Bowl.
That is not true, my friend. About 5 or 6 years ago, somebody had the Seattle defense in the Super Bowl and actually won this contest because of that. I had Eric Balkman from the FFPC joining me on the Fantasy Alarm Show, and he'll be joining me and Coop on Friday's show as well to kind of chime in on that. But yeah, he actually just brought that up when we were talking about which teams we were thinking about fading and where we were looking at for our defenses, because everybody wants the Houston defense.
So there you go. Half a decade ago, it did work with defense. So maybe you fade 3 teams and pick a defense you really like, because you never know. You're right. There are some defenses that have just been dominant and have really crushed. So we'll keep that in mind here for this. You definitely want your quarterback. And again, your quarterback doesn't have to go to the Super Bowl. We've seen a lot of years where the winning quarterback loses in the conference round, and you still win this tournament. Last year, for instance, there were teams that did really well with like Xavier Worthy from the Chiefs in there. So definitely keep that in mind. And you definitely want to have solid position players in those last few rounds. So why don't we jump in? Let's look at our sheet here. Anything else I missed on the tournament that Balky or anybody might have brought up that you think is important to note?
No, I think it's I'm going to start, and Coop's going to be looking at some historical data as well. If you guys want to chime in, I don't normally, plug somebody else's stuff, but for this contest in particular, fantasymojo.com, our good friend Darren Armani, he does all sorts of compiling data, and you can go back and look at the results over the last 5 or 6 years. He's got it all over there. So if you do want to check out some of that data, I think that's definitely somebody to follow on Twitter. It's at Fantasy Mojo, and it's fantasymojo.com.
Yeah, the article I have up on FFPC, I'm going to do two of them. One's basic strategy. This next one's going to have a little more macro strategy, micro strategy. That one heavily references Fantasy Mojo, because I went through and looked at the last few years to see kind of what you need to happen here. So
that data is crazy, right?
It's crazy. There's so much. I get lost in that, just going through all the information. So let's jump in with the first team here. One thing you got to keep in mind as well, bye weeks. The teams with the byes often have the best shot at making it deep, as you can see with the odds here on the sheet. But you have to keep in mind that they're going to miss one game. So you're going to if you have players from those teams, just know that you are expecting them to go deep and at least win next week. If you think one of these teams is going to lose next week, you might want to fade them completely, because they're only going to be playing one game. So what I did in the sheet here is I put the conference championship odds and the Super Bowl odds on here. The conference championship are actually more important than the odds of winning the Super Bowl. You don't get bonus points for winning. You do get points for making it there. And I guess I should have mentioned this from the top. The points in the Super Bowl are doubled. So whoever you have in the Super Bowl better be a superstar. So I sorted it by conference here. Let's start with the Seahawks. If we're going to consider any guys from this team, I'm going to throw JSN in there right away. Is there anybody else from the Seahawks that we would consider to maybe be different or maybe fade them completely? Where do you guys live with the Seahawks?
Well, for me, I look at it and I say that they're, as much as I would love to say Kenneth Walker's name here, I don't think that's the way to go. I think JSN is the primary guy here. And I think that if you wanted to be, I guess, kind of contrarian and pivot off to somebody else, I think it would probably be Zach Charbonnet, simply because he gets the touchdown work. He gets that goal line work. It does, Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, AJ Barner, these guys don't do it for me. You could go Seattle defense if you really wanted to. So I would say that JSN for me is the chalk, with Charbonnet and the defense being the pivots.
Okay.
I have no notes. That's exactly where I would go.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing it too. I mean, I would also even throw. I mean, Myers has been pretty good too. If you're gonna fade him, like that's not a bad play. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to use the kicker for the number 1 seed in the West.
Yeah. Well, if you're fading them and you expect them to lose their second game, then you would use the kicker defense.
That is true.
Possibly.
That is true. So if you don't want to fade them, I mean, I think really, it's really comes down to, we can talk about the top players and everything. I think the real discussion here is which teams are we thinking of actually fading in this one? I think the Panthers are probably the number 1 fade. I mean, you could go with Teteroa McMillan, or Joey Sly or something like that. But I mean, is there anybody really that you want off of the Panthers here?
I think that's it. I think we can get them on here pretty quick and just say, look, it's either McMillan or a fade, because I really don't see, again, with this contest, you got to really ask yourself, what does success look like for this team? You know what I mean? Like, what's it going to take for them to have win 1, 2, or even go to the Super Bowl? And I just can't imagine them doing that without Ted McMillan. He's been their best player all year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the running backs, Dowell.
Yeah, Dowdle definitely. I mean, you look back at week 13 when the Panthers actually beat the Rams at home, and you kind of look at it, nobody had like a really standout sort of a game. So
the defense did, right? They picked off
the defense did well. They picked off Stafford a couple of times, like 3 times in that game.
3 or 4, yeah, it was a lot. So.
And I think they had 31 points in total. So Joey Sly got some extra work in there as well.
They're my fade. They're my fade team.
They're my fade team too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it like that. Then I haven't decided if I'm going to color code this or not with the players. I might just put all the players in. And I think for us, I think this is how we're playing it, right? Like, would you ever consider? Let's say you had 5. This is kind of how I judge it. Let's say hypothetically we have 5 $35 teams at our disposal. Are any of those teams going to have Rico Dowdle? And I think for me, the answer is no.
5, yeah.
5, you would make a Rico Dowdle team?
I'd have 1. I know you're just trying to get very, contrarian. Like if you're making 5 teams in the 35 and you're trying to get different, I mean, it's a GPP mindset. If you play, DFS,
okay.
If no one's playing Rico Dowdle and all of a sudden he punches in 2 touchdowns, even if they lose, I mean, it's a spot you're
in. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I remember, was it last year? Ladd McConkey had like a 34-point game and they lost, but he was part of the perfect lineup.
Yeah.
By the end of the season. So yeah, I mean, I think if you are doing multiple lineups, you can explore certain things. I think not any team can be faded. I think that there are a bunch of teams though here that we can talk about fading. Panthers, Steelers.
Steelers, I don't know where to go with Pittsburgh. I mean, like you want to obviously, they have the hardest matchup from a defensive standpoint going up against Houston. So they don't throw the football well as it is. So you're going to trust that they run the football well against Houston. Like that seems
Gainwell, probably the guy, right? I mean, I look at Gainwell kind of like we looked at Devon Achane throughout the season when he's getting carries when they're up ahead, but he's also on the field for the passing work when they're losing.
Yeah. This would be like my Boswell spot, right? Like
Boswell
Tomlin goes for it the least amount than any coach in the league in terms of like the data where it says like you should go for it on 4th down. Like he's the dead last. He does not go for it on 4th down when they're supposed to. If you think this game's going to be kind of low scoring, because, even the Texans offense isn't spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers defense has improved late. Maybe they get in a spot and Boswell's out there not shanking end of game field goals like he did last week, but actually making them. Because he's probably as good of a kicker as there is on that team. So
yeah, I would put Coop. I would definitely put the Pittsburgh defense in here for sure. Just considering the struggles that CJ Stroud has had, not to mention the fact that it's a home start for the Steelers. We know that Stroud struggles on the road at times. Not to mention the fact that the Steelers do really well on the at home defensively. as well. But I would put Gainwell in there. I'm not putting, Metcalf or anybody else in there. I'm not really that interested in anyone from there. All right, I'm gonna throw it out here because I think it's
say one thing in the chat for Greg. Greg says, remember Washington was this year's Panthers? Washington last year had odds of winning the Super Bowl of like 4,000, 5,000. So where the Steelers are, it wasn't 20,000. It wasn't that bad.
The major difference too is the quarterback play. I mean, Jaden Daniels is playing as like an MVP. Bryce Young is barely getting this team there. He's certainly had moments this season, and it's great for Carolina that maybe Bryce Young wasn't a complete bust. He just needed to get the right system, better protection around him, and maybe they can build around him with being a smaller quarterback. But Jaden Daniels was like running through teams last year, and that was the reason why you were high on them. You trusted him to throw the football and get the ball to McLaurin and Ertz and Noah Brown or whoever was like their wide receiver 3 at the time. You really don't trust the passing game with Carolina here, and that's the tough part. That's why you aren't really believing that they could win, because when you're in the playoffs, you either need the elite defense or you need the quarterback, and that's just the way it has to go.
Yeah, and if you look at past data as well, I mean, I think it was only like 3 or 4% of the teams had Jaden Daniels as their QB, and they were successful with that. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, who from Carolina would you actually even look at to say, would Tedero McMillan have that kind of a game? He needs to have that kind of a game every single week if they want to, even if they upset the Rams, he would need like a good solid second game as well. And then, you're relying on Bryce Young, which I don't really want to do.
Or he would just need to have one like 3 touchdown game and a loss. Because one of our position players or 2 of our position players are going to get eliminated here, So it's like he would need to have a really special game, which, I mean, it's possible. That's why his name goes on the sheet.
Can I tell you who I want to fade?
Go ahead.
Because and you can start with the sheet. You can go back up to the top here, Coop.
Mm-hmm.
I want to fade Denver.
All right.
I'll say this: not only are you not getting a game in the first week, but Denver, among all the playoffs team, 9th most points scored offensively this season. They were 9th among this playoff pool in points per game, and they don't have anybody who is really stood out. They've got, their second round matchup. It's going to, it could be Houston and trying to go up against that defense, or, it could actually be Buffalo if Buffalo beats the Jaguars, right? So, you could say maybe RJ Harvey running against that Buffalo defense, but who's a standout on Denver at all? I mean, I don't know if I can trust Courtland Sutton. I don't know if I can trust RJ Harvey. I certainly don't think I can trust Bo Nix for consistency on that front either. They don't have a tight end that anybody wants to deal with. Maybe you could say the defense. Maybe you could say the kicker. So I'm kind of thinking I might want to fade the Broncos.
Yeah. What do you think, John? Would you consider him a full fade? I don't know if I would love using Sutton, really. I mean,
Sutton's the one that I've at least put into my line because the target volume for him has been insane these last few weeks. So like even in a tough game, he's become the money player that we had hoped he would have been. Their offense has obviously struggled to start the year. It's come on a little bit. Harvey was a guy that I had considered. I didn't love the report that if they get to the AFC Championship game, Dobbins could be back. Now, that doesn't mean that Dobbins is going to play a bunch. Like, the guy's missed so much time, but I don't love the idea that Dobbins could be back for the AFC Championship game, because what if they do get to the Super Bowl? Now he's got like 3 weeks off basically to like recover and be available for the Super Bowl. And then your Harvey lineup might be gone, so Sutton for me would be the one. I also like the defense, obviously, outside of Houston, they have the best defense, probably in the playoffs of all teams. The way they've played, they're going to have the home field advantage where we know teams certainly struggle. It's going to be cold. It's in thin air. Like, there's a whole bunch of factors that help certainly Denver. So I do like the defense. I like Sutton. Don't think I can go Bo Nix. You're right on the tight end. So, and the kicker is fine. You kick in Denver, you have the chance. The kicker I put in my lineup is Cam Little. The guy's kicking 70-yard field.
Oh, to the Jaguars we go.
Let's jump around. All right. So with the Jaguars, again, the thing with the Jaguars is I kind of love that they have 3 wide receivers for one and done, because in one and done you can kind of use them and say, okay, well, if they win this week, then I'll still have another one. But for this format, I kind of hate it, because like now you're trying to pick the right one. There might not even be a right one, right? So I don't know. I do like ETN. I like the idea of ETN if they win against, because again, when you create the narrative of like, okay, if this team's going to win, how's it going to happen? Well, they're going to have to be able to run on the Bills. So I do like that idea, but I don't know. I don't really love Strange or any of the wide receivers for something like this. Do you guys?
I actually don't mind Parker Washington, because here's a guy who we were kind of tossing aside, right? It was going to be Brian Thomas, and then it was, Jacoby Myers is the guy who basically unlocked this offense for for Liam Cohen and crew. Once they pulled in Jacoby Myers, all of a sudden this offense started to take off. But if you look at like who's garnering the majority of targets there, it still seems to be Parker Washington. And I feel like a lot of people will go towards Jacoby Myers, and people will go towards, I think Trevor Lawrence is probably the guy that I think a lot of people will probably make as a chalk pick, just based off of the way he's played.
Yeah.
So I don't mind pivoting off to a guy like Washington if it just means being a little bit different.
Right. I mean,
Washington's great, and obviously the Brian Thomas would be the ultimate 5 lineup contrarian play, because he's done nothing. So wouldn't it be great for him to all of a sudden pop? But the matchup for them in round 1, ETN makes the most sense, right? You can run all over Buffalo. So
yeah, I think if this team is going to win, if this team's going to either lose this week or win one game, Parker Washington could easily be the highest scoring guy. I think if they do make it to the Super Bowl, you're probably going to want Lawrence or ETN. So depending how you're mapping it out, like, I don't know if I see a world where they play 4 games and Parker Washington is the guy that just like outscores everybody. But I think if you plan on saying, okay, the Jags are going to maybe win 1, maybe even win 2, Parker Washington could definitely be the guy, because he's getting 10 targets a game here, and in 1 win and 1 losing effort, I think he could easily clear. So I do like having Washington on the sheet. Let's jump to the Rams here, because they have a ton of stars. I mean, do we just put everybody's name on the sheet and sort that out later? That's kind of how we've been handling it on the Friday show with teams like this.
I mean, yeah, everybody I think is in play. Although I'll tell you what, man, it's really, Nakua and Adams. I think that's going to be like the main pivot for a lot of people.
Right.
To go Kyren Williams versus Blake Corum, I got to tilt towards Kyren. One of the reason that Corum has been getting so much work is because Mike LaFleur, their offensive coordinator, specifically said it. I want Kyren Williams with fresh legs for the playoffs. So, I kind of have to lean there over Corum, just in that sense.
Yeah, I agree on that. And I think that with this team, this is one where I don't even think we should put the kicker and defense on the sheet. I mean, knock on wood for Ani Cook's sake. Yeah. They're 10-point favorites, right? And you don't want to plan on your kicker and defense advancing. Like, in an ideal world, they have a good game and kind of just shuffle away. So we don't want to put them on here.
Yeah, it's super interesting ownership. If Stafford is I think the Rams are going to be the most picked team to go to the Super Bowl. I know the odds obviously are to Seattle, but I think from this format, from a quarterback perspective, like, Stafford probably ends up the highest rostered quarterback because of all the touchdown he throws and the weaponry that he has around them. And I think people believe that the Rams are probably just a more talented overall team, nuts to bolts when it comes down to it. Even though they lost to Seattle, it took crazy comeback from Seattle to do it. And that's going to be the decision, because if you don't use Stafford and you use Nakua or Adams, you might get a little bit of lower ownership on one of those 2 wide receivers. Definitely on the running back. I don't think anyone's going to go to Kyren, because why would you play Kyren when you have Stafford, you have Nakua, and you have Adams? So I think Kyren's a great contrarian play there. The quarterback's going to be the big one, I think, for me, because people are just, he might be the MVP. There's just a lot of lore there behind Matthew Stafford right now.
it could just be the chalk, and he's pulling the Aaron Rodgers this year with 14 touchdowns from the 1 yard line, which in fantasy we love to see that. And with Devontae Adams back, it's going to be right back on schedule. So
give it scoring. Any Colby Parkinson love or
not with Tyler Higbee back, dude.
Higbee back,
that was a huge letdown.
Yeah, I know.
It's a very annoying situation. And again, like 1 year, the guy that won started 4 tight ends, and basically, Dalton Schultz had 3 touchdowns in his 2 games. TJ Hawkinson played 1 game and had a huge game. Like that in tight end premium, that's possible, but I don't think this is the year for it, because usually we have all the top tight ends in the playoffs. Like usually it's Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews and their tight ends 2 and 3. Like this year, the top 6 tight ends in fantasy from the regular season in total points scored are not in the playoffs. None of them. McBride, Pitts, Fannin, like all those guys are out. Like the top scoring tight end from the regular season that's in, it was the tight end 7, Dallas Goedert. And then of course Kittle was banged up. He's obviously like the premier guy. But he doesn't even have a good matchup the first week here. So it's like, do we use it? I mean, let's jump down to the 49ers, who like odds are they probably play 1 game, maybe 2 based on what Vegas is saying. What do we do with this team? Because like, I don't know if I want to fully fade them. I think a lot of people are just going to start CMC.
Yeah, I think CMC is definitely going to be the chalk play here. I think you're going to get some shares of Brock Purdy. I mean, it really comes down to what you think is going to happen between them and the Eagles, right? The Eagles are the favored team here. The point spread jumped up to 4.5 because a lot of money came in on the Eagles in like the last 24 hours. So, I think Purdy is definitely somebody to look at. CMC is definitely going to be the chalk. I don't think there's really, Pinheiro.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're thinking that they don't get past,
right.
past the Eagles, even good,
right?
Maybe Pinheiro is the guy.
Yeah, the defense is even good. And the thing with Kittle, and this is why Kittle to me is actually in this format potentially just a full fade, because he has a terrible matchup this week, right? And over a 2-game sample size, even in tight end premium, what are the odds that he outscores Christian McCaffrey? I don't think it's that good.
I don't think it's that good either.
I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, man was at like 2,000 total yards. Like it's
right. Like it's just it's not that good. Like Kittle, I don't think he's going to do. He would have to like sneak a touchdown against the Eagles, because they really are very good against the tight end. And then next week he'd have to go crazy.
So it's not really a great matchup for the 49ers in general, having to go on the road in Philadelphia. The defense is shored up a little bit, with the defensive line getting healthier. It's going to be a tough game for CMC to run the football. You're just hoping the volume is going to be there for him in the passing game to kind of offset it. And you can't trust any of the wide receivers. You don't know what wide receiver is going to catch the football that day. So
I would kind of lean Jennings over Pearsall, and just in the sense that if it's full point PPR, he does see the majority of the targets, and he does see some decent red zone work. So I think CMC is going to be the chalk. I think if you want to get a little weird, a little different, I think Jennings might be the way that I would go.
Do we put Kittle's name on the sheet out of respect?
Not if we're not going to use him.
Yeah, I don't think we are. Because the thing about Jennings is I think Jennings could, in a losing effort, have a decent game versus I think Kittle's going to really – I think it's just a bad matchup for Kittle. There's 3 defenses that I don't like starting tight ends against, and all 3 of them made the playoffs. I don't like starting tight ends against the Eagles. I don't like starting them against the Rams, and I don't like using them against the Texans. So, yeah, not good, man. Johnny, pick a team. We'll each take turns picking the next team here. So where do you want to go next?
Let's go Bears.
Bears, baby. Okay. What do you want to start with? Caleb, is he making the cut? He's bad.
I mean,
he does.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I actually use DeAndre Swift in the one lineup I've built.
Yes, I have him in one of mine too.
So the one I've only made one lineup so far. I used DeAndre Swift. I like all of the wide receivers. The problem is they're all hurt, right? Like Adunze's coming back. Burden got hurt at the end of the last game. Moore's on the injury report with like a knee now. I think Colson Loveland's kind of interesting, but like, again, you got to trust it. I like this offense. I think it's super explosive. I think next year is going to be the year. I mean, the Bears are already very good, but I think you give them another season, under this offense with this new system, with another year of growth out of Caleb Williams, who's absolutely turned a corner and showed why he was probably the number 1 overall pick But I'm still going the running back here. I think if you're looking at this team from a safety floor valve, I like Swift here. If you want to get different, you can definitely take one of the wide receivers, but I don't know where they're going to be at with all these injuries. I mean, Dunze's missed 5 weeks.
I don't like him. I don't like him. I think you're absolutely right. I think this team's been disrespected by Vegas a lot of the year. They're dogs at home after winning the division. So I think these are the 3 names we want to look at. We don't want to use the kicker or defense because Santos hasn't been great and the defense has been terrible. Yeah. But I think this is a team where I'm not fading them. I think I want to get a position player from this team. So I think Swift or Loveland makes a lot of sense, Bender. You cool with that?
I'm fine with that. I mean, I will credit the defense. They did finish the season with the most takeaways of any other team in the NFL. But I'm not gonna sit there and and bank on them. I think they can have a good first game against the Packers. But then beyond that, I don't really know if I want to trust the Chicago Bears pass defense against, some of these more high potent passing attacks.
One good game against the Packers, especially if it's a good game and they lose, it might be what you need though.
Could be. You can add them if you want.
We'll put them on the sheet.
Sure.
All right, I'm going next one, and I like this comment from Icy Through here. He says, Schultz. And I'll tell you what, Dalton Schultz, not a guy I usually use, but in something like this where it's tight end premium, he actually has a decent matchup. He's a top 2 target on the team, running the second most routes behind Nico Collins. I don't think it's crazy to use Dalton Schultz in something like this. And it wouldn't even be the first time that Schultz was the correct play. 2 years ago in 2023, he scored 3 touchdowns in 2 games, caught 12 balls, which in tight end premium is the equivalent of catching 18 passes over 2 games. And he was just a guy that you needed to have at tight end. So it's not crazy to use Dalton Schultz in something like this. Probably not in the flex, though. I would only use Schultz in my actual tight end spot if I was going to kind of punt the tight end position. So he's on the table. Nico's got to be on the table. Mm-hmm. Anybody else we're considering? I really don't want to use Stroud.
Johnny, I mean, the defense, I think is going to end up being chalk.
The defense is exactly who I played from this team. I looked at Woody Marks as well because round 1 you can run on the Steelers.
And I'll put Fairbairn in here too.
Yeah, Fairbairn's another guy with the number of kicks that he does.
But yeah, the defense just felt like the auto plug for me. Again, I don't think the Steelers have really any chance in this game. I was talking to it with.
You didn't read the NFL script?
Well, if the Steelers are going to lose,
the NFL script, I got a copy of it. It's here somewhere. It's Aaron Rodgers winning in his home state of California, Northern California, against the Green Bay Packers, and then he retires.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Aaron Foster leaked the script early, huh?
I was talking to Grande about this the other day, about Houston, how they have one defensive end that has 14.5 sacks. The other one's got like 13. So you can't protect either side of the line because Anderson or Hunter are just coming on the other end. So double tight end one side and chip with the other. Like you got no shot when they only have to rush 4 to get at you. So, Rodgers' ability to get quick release and knows how to throw the ball away as a veteran quarterback certainly helps, but they have their passing attack is abysmal. So, for me, Houston could go out there and pitch a shutout in round 1, and then you throw it up to whatever they get in round 2 as the matchup, and I'd still bet the defense here. So I said beginning of the show, to get to the Super Bowl, you need an elite quarterback and an elite defense, and this defense is playing at a level that could carry them with enough offense to make some noise here.
I don't want their defense to win a bunch of games. I don't want them to win a bunch of games if I have their defense. Technically it's happened, but it's just.
But but they can be a dominant defense from takeaways and sacks.
But historically, the odds are not good if your defense makes it far. Historically, I know there was the outlier that Bachman brought up, but I went through the last 5 years of data, and it's really not that good. Especially kicker. Kicker, you definitely don't want to advance far, but it's really not. You really don't want your defense winning 2 games. You want them winning 1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we see any of us see the Texans going to the AFC Championship game. I mean, I think we're getting max 2 games out of them. It
was like it was a couple of years ago, right? They had the round 1, they had the 2 defensive touchdowns.
Yep.
And then they were basically the top scoring defense for the tournament.
For the whole tournament.
Historically speaking, though, if we think the Texans win this game, then we'd be better off with Pittsburgh's defense and a position player from the Texans. because we want our position players, especially in tight end, we want our position players to go far.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is that like
I just think they win week 1 and lose in week 2, and I think I think they're capable of putting up a big number.
Okay, with the defense. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to the lineup part. It sounds like you guys want to use Houston. So
Because if you think
my
about
guy
it,
Schultz is off the table.
Stroud historically, again, is just a guy that's a bit unproven. So
yeah, I just think Schultz if they play in 2 games, Schultz is probably going to score, in my opinion, more tight end premium points than the defense does.
Okay.
But we'll see. Maybe there's another tight end that we really love, like Loveland or somebody. All right, Howard, your turn to pick a team.
All right. Or maybe we look at Dallas Goedert going here with the Eagles, going up against San Francisco, who no longer has Fred Warner and also doesn't have Tatum Bethune anymore. He is gonzo. And if you've tracked the San Francisco 49ers, I think they're giving up like the 6th most fantasy points per game to the tight end position, something like that, because they haven't had that middle linebacker in there that they, always kind of trust. You look at Dallas Goedert, he's got, he didn't play in week 18, but neither did a bunch of their other starters. So I'm not worried about the questionable tag with his knee at all. I think that what we look at here with Dallas Goedert is a great matchup here against San Francisco in tight end premium. And I think that that's definitely to me, it's a good pivot off of Saquon Barkley, who everybody's going to go with, right? Everybody's going to go with Saquon Barkley. They're going to go with Jalen Hurts. Maybe you'll see some people splash in the wide receivers. I kind of look at Dallas Goedert as being a guy who could kind of just tilt things, especially because I'll tell you what, man, maybe the Eagles are favored in this one, and maybe the money is coming in on the Eagles to cover the 4.5 point spread. I don't think that it's that gimme of a game against this 49ers offense. I really don't. So, when I look at the situation with 49ers and Eagles, it's like, yeah, I could probably get 2 games out of either team. Where do I want to lean, the most? And so I kind of thought that Goddard might be an intriguing play here at the tight end spot.
I love it, dude. I mean, and again,
4 touchdowns last 3 games.
He has 11 touchdowns in the season. Quietly, rare double-digit touchdown season for a tight end. And again, yes, he does have like games where he disappears, but when he does show up and they lean on him, he is a guy that can come out and catch 7-8 passes. So that's in tight end premium. If you come out over 1-2 game sample size and catch double-digit passes of any kind, again, that's 10 catches is the equivalent of a wide receiver catching 15. So having a tight end that either has one big game and loses, like TJ Hawkinson did a couple of years ago, or one that's just dominant the whole time, which I don't know if we're going to have one here. Like those, that can change everything. And I think 1 or 2, like if you're picking a team to win 1 game and lose, having a tight end from one of those teams is great. So Goddard's definitely on the table.
I like Jalen Hurts a lot. He's the quarterback that I built around so far in the one lineup.
Really?
Has been to the Super Bowl twice, won one. When it comes to playoff times, he's surrounded by a ton of weapons, right? So you can talk about the inconsistencies you want all season long with the Eagles, and the frustration with the passing game at time, and they're being more careful with the tush push and the offsides and all of those things, but he still has a ceiling greater than I think any quarterback here, because he could have 3 rushing touchdowns in this game. He could throw for a couple more. Like he has the upside with Brown and Smith and Goddard. So for me, Hurts is the quarterback I put in my first lineup that I built. We know that the 49ers defense has really struggled. And I just, again, you can't take away the fact that this team's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. So
the odds at this time last year of them winning the Super Bowl was like plus 700. And right now it's at plus 850. That's really not that far off when it comes to Super Bowl odds. Like they have just as good a chance of getting to the Super Bowl this year, in my opinion, as they did last year.
Teams that know how to win in the playoffs, find ways to win in the playoffs.
Figure it out.
What it is.
Yeah, Vic Fangio's special
I will say I don't love the whole, like I would normally lean on the tush push, but with the penalties that have been called the entire season long, and you just look at it, right? Last 5 games, no touchdown runs for Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had 2 against Dallas. He had 1 against Detroit. Then the 3 games prior to that, nothing at all. I mean, he's actually gone more games without a rushing touchdown than he has with a rushing touchdown. So I do agree with you, John, that he could suddenly light it up for that. But I think with the way that they're calling penalties and the issues that the Eagles have had on the offensive line. I don't even think what's his face is playing anymore, right? Or is Lane Johnson actually going to be out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't mind like playing into the Eagles going deep here.
Lane Johnson is expected, it looks like, to play.
Okay.
Looks like he's going to play. Difference maker practicing here. So we'll see on that. Again, once we get to the lineup, we'll have these final debates. Let's get the names in here quick, and then we'll jump over to make sure that we got about 10 or so minutes left on this one. Johnny, your turn to pick a team.
I mean, we might as well go Patriots.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go there. I know you're all in on Drake May. You got your TikTok out there.
You were conservative on May all year to some degree.
I feel like I was trying to like hone in my homerisms. I didn't want to go too overboard on Drake May.
Which is so funny, too, because I loaded up on Drake May all over the place to counter my Jets sadness.
Yeah, listen, I mean, like, I wasn't, like, incorrect with some of the calls I've made as counter to Drake May, but then May would go out there and throw for 5 touchdowns while Trevor Lawrence would have, like, 3. And I'm like, well, I lost the argument. Lawrence had a really good game, but I didn't think Drake May was going to throw 5 in the first half. So, what am I supposed to do here?
I can make this really easy on us here.
Okay.
If we think the Patriots go to the Super Bowl, because with our build, we're going to kind of predict how deep teams are going. If this team goes to the Super Bowl, we want May. If we think this team wins 1, maybe 2 games, we probably want Diggs or Hunter Henry. If we're picking a running back, which one are we picking of the two? Because you can't really pick them both. It's not like a Nakua versus Adams. I think you truly have to have a lean.
I think Ramondre Stevenson's pass blocking is going to be the reason he's on the field more in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then I don't think we want their kicker or defense.
No,
I don't think we do.
I like Borgalis, but I don't think you're going to pick him.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to pick him.
He knocked down a 59-yarder last week, longest in Gillette history. So
yeah, he's
right.
A good
but
player.
For the sake of this, I mean, we're not.
I agree.
We're not fading him. Yeah, that's the thing. So we're not fading him. So it really is a question of, and again, we'll get there, but it's like over the grand scheme of things, over the course of 4 games, right? Let's say they, even if it doesn't matter if they win the Super Bowl or not, but over the course of 4 games, I think May would outscore everybody else. But I do think there's a world where if they play just 1 or 2 games, that it's Diggs or Hunter Henry. I think to pick Stevenson, you'd almost need them to have a pretty positive run. So I don't know if I love picking Stevenson. I think if we're going to be in the camp of like, okay, we're going to play into a narrative that the Bills go to the Super Bowl, then I think we want Diggs or Hunter Henry and say like, okay, you know what? They're going to win 1 game this week and they're going to be throwing a bunch and lose next week. And that's where Diggs or Henry are going to be the guy. Does that make sense to you guys?
It does.
They lean. I think if they get in the red zone, I feel like they're going to fall into a bit more of a conservative play style where Stevenson is going, because they trust Drake May. I don't think they want May to make mistakes in the red zone. And while Stevenson obviously had his fumbling problems earlier, the fact that their offensive line is healthier now, I think they're going to look to run the ball in the red zone a lot, and right. Stevenson just feels like that guy.
Well, that's for Stevenson to be the guy because you run up against the Jags this week, and you run up against the Chargers this week. For Stevenson to be the guy, I think they do need to win 2 games. I just have a hard time looking at it and being like they play this week and next week, and Stevenson outscores everybody else. I mean, it is possible. It is possible.
I mean, he just had 3 touchdowns last week. He catches the football. He's an underrated pass catcher.
I mean, he's been great catching the ball. He's running like real downfield wheel routes. I think they've realized that, like, again, it's like the idea of playing into what the defense is expecting you to do. Yeah. And when Stevenson's out there, they're just putting schlubs on him to cover him.
It's just his pass blocking ability is so elite. Right. And Henderson, came into the league considered a really great pass blocker from his college tape, but he was just getting blown up. He's just not, I don't think, strong enough yet to pass block at the NFL level. And you just see highlights, last week specifically, of Ramondre just blowing up dudes that are coming off the edge. So I think that's just going to earn him more playing time.
I think Hope's got it pretty much figured out here in the chat.
Drake May all day. That's fine. Drake May.
Drake May or Ramondre Stevenson. Those are the 2 that I've looked at the most with it. I didn't even look at Diggs just for the simple fact that, when you look at Drake May throwing the ball around, right? Kayshon Boutte gets some work. Hunter Henry gets some work. Maybe Diggs gets some work. But I mean, here's a guy. I mean, Coop, you and I kind of went back and forth. There was zero opportunity for there was plenty of opportunity to do it, but there was zero desire to throw the ball to Stephon Diggs in week 18 and get him those incentives. Yeah. They just ran the crap out of the football. And that's kind of Vrabel's thing. Like, that's Vrabel's thing. Like, I think that he wants to, like I always give crap to Joe Brady in Buffalo, right? And I guess we can kind of pivot over to the Bills right now because it's Josh Allen and it's James Cook. And there's nobody else on that team that I want out of Buffalo because Joe Brady, once he gets inside the 10, he plays it super conservative, does not want to turn the ball over. He's not like, he's not, making Josh Allen make these like weird, wild throws. I think Allen and Cook are the guys for Buffalo. And I don't know. You guys have any desire to go with Kincaid versus Knox or Khalil Herbert versus?
No, I think it's Allen. It's the only three options: Allen, Cook, or a complete fade. Because I'm not using their defense. We don't even know who the kicker is going to be. So it's those two are a complete fade. Can I just say one thing on Diggs is that in a couple of the important games this year, he has been leaned on heavily. Like the Bills game, 9 catches for 138. In the Ravens game, he caught 10 for over 100. He has multiple games with over 100 yards. Last week, they ran all over the Dolphins. But I don't know if they're going to be able to run all over the Chargers. So I'm leaving Diggs on the sheet even if we don't use it. If that's okay with everybody.
I'm not telling you to take it off. I'm just saying he's not my cup of tea.
No, I feel you. And for this build, I don't think we use him. But yeah, it's for the Bills, Allen, Cook, John. Is there anybody else, man? I mean, I don't want to use Khalil Shakir for this.
I mean, that would be the only other guy.
Yeah. Nope.
No.
Next team.
There's too many good wide receivers. Let's go with the Packers here.
Christian Watson.
I love Watson, and I love why I love Watson. I love Watson in one and done. I think one and done Watson is just such a great play because he could have a huge game this week. And if he has a huge game and they get eliminated, great. But in one and done also, I mean, like if they win, they're the 7 seed and they go face the Seahawks, and you don't want to use Watson next week. I think if you expect the Packers to lose this week, Watson's a great pick, right?
I think Watson's a good pick if you expect them to win this week too.
He's the most explosive player, obviously.
He's the only one who's got like that real edge. I mean, you could go Josh Jacobs.
You
could go Jacobs as long as he's healthy. I think that's fine.
That's my biggest concern. I know that he was, he's back practicing, but like again, he hasn't been 100% down the stretch, and I don't know. I'm just that's my like lone worry. Are they going to force feed the football to Jacobs here? Are they going to use more, of a split if he's not fully healthy?
Yeah.
And I do think the Bears win this game. Right. They're going to the Bears, right? So like I do think the Bears win this game. So which is why I have Watson, because I could see him going 5 for 80 and a score. And that being it, wash your hands of it. Love being back, throw the ball downfield a little bit. And but Romeo Doubs, I think, is the sleeper of that group because that guy just always seemingly just comes up, for this Packers. He's a little bit of a safety net for him. He's also like, we talk a lot about him as like, a chain mover. Like his average reception is like 13.5 yards or something like that. So like he actually does get some deep plays to him. So I don't mind Romeo Doubs.
Yeah. He's never had a 100-yard game in the regular season, but he did have one in the playoffs in that crazy shootout with the Packers. So
with Doubs,
something to the playoff Dubs. And I put Green Bay and McManus in the sheet because if we're going to be picking the Bears to win, then this is a team that we could also soft fade if we choose to do that.
Sure.
Last team here, the Chargers going up against New England. Not great odds to make the Super Bowl at plus 1,300. So, I mean, obviously that would jump up if they win this week. But what do we live with this team?
Is this your sneaky Aronde Gatson spot, given how bad they've been against tight ends all season long?
Patriots have struggled against the tight ends. And I don't think Robert Spillane is going to play based on what I'm seeing, which is just another linebacker over the middle. Jack Gibbons has been he struggled a little bit over the middle. So I mean, it's on the table. Any interest in a Marion Hampton here?
I don't know. Mel Williams is back. He's very different.
I don't love that. I think Quentin Johnston could be an interesting kind of an off kilter pivot sort of a situation there. I don't know Christian Gonzalez if he's going to follow around McCaffrey or if they're just going to avoid putting, somebody opposite Gonzalez as much as possible if he's going to take away half the field. But I think QJ is definitely somebody who, I think McConkey gets the name recognition, right? And not necessarily is the right play for this, even though I'm sure some people will be like, oh, remember what he did last year? That was one and done and he crushed it.
Yeah, I think what you'll see is it could certainly change. I'm saying my thought here would be you'll get Gonzalez on QJ. I think you'll get Marcus Jones on Ladd McConkey, and you'll get Carlton Davis on Keenan Allen.
Right. Which would favor McConkey.
Marcus Jones has been really good inside.
Yeah. I mean,
but obviously, you're using Marcus Jones for his speed there against Ladd.
I think we just found our kicker.
Yeah, I think that might be it. I think it might be Dicker might be the play.
Could be.
I'm going to that game, actually. I just remembered. That'll be fun. Go Pats. All right, so we got our sheet here. Anything we want to amend, add? Do we want to sneak AJ Barner on the sheet? Because I'm going to publish this on the site with a little write-up for each position being like, hey, here's our thought process. You might be surprised George Kittle's not on here, but here's what we're thinking. Is there anybody else we want to put on here just so people know that, like, hey, by the way, like, if you want to use this guy, you got the green light from us? I think we kind of covered it.
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else that I would.
No Steelers, no Panthers. I mean, look, the tight end landscape here is gross because I have no interest at all in any of the Packers, Steelers, or Panthers, like, under any circumstances would I use them. Same with the Rams, really. You're not going to use Engram. You're not going to use Barner. So I think we got it pretty covered.
Yeah.
So folks just joining us now, there's Dustin Ludke with the Barnyard crew. Yeah, he called it this year. He said AJ Barner over Elijah Arroyo. Hey, you know what? You're right. Barner finished tight end 13. I didn't like that he blocked on 9 pass plays last week and only ran 59% of the routes, but what are you going to do? So if you want to play with us, folks, go to my FFPC or actually go to fantasyalarm.com/FFPC and use that link there. It'll auto-populate our promo code ALARM. They give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. My suggestion, if you're playing for the first time and you want to just make 2 contests and the $35 one, deposit $45. They'll give you $25. That'll give you 2 entries in the $35 one. You can win $100,000 as the top prize in that one. We're doing the $200 one where the top prize is $500,000, and it looks a little something like this. So this is what the screen looks like when you jump in there. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 4 flexes, a tight end, kicker, defense. It's tight end premium, so you can have tight ends in the flex if you want. And just know that we're not going to be picking players from 2 teams. You can only pick 1 player from each team. That's how this works. And then you probably don't want your teams going to the Super Bowl to be kicker or defense unless you really think a defense goes absolutely bonkers here, Legion of Doom style or something like that. So just going to jump back over to the sheet. What's a name that when we were going through, guys, we were like, we're using that guy. That guy's in. I felt like we felt pretty good about Goddard when all was said and done.
I definitely felt good about Goddard as my tight end pick. Yeah, I definitely do.
You guys want to go Goddard? Because it was either for me. I'm feeling either Goddard or Schultz. But if we're going to go Houston defense, we'll go Goddard. Do you guys want to do that to start?
Sure. Yeah. Throw it in there.
For people that
put Dicker in as our
really
kicker. I think we're all pretty much in the agreement that if we're going to throw a Charger in there.
For people that were doing a lot of arguing and pounding the drum about Houston's defense, I'm hearing a lot of sure's.
No, I like Houston's defense. I was more on, the Goddard one's iffy for me, but there aren't a lot of tight ends. So
I like Schultz. But if you guys like, we would have to pick a different defense.
If we pick a different defense, then I would say that we pick either Denver or Pittsburgh.
Well,
if we're going to go with Schultz at tight end, that's just my take on that. Again, like I said, I'm pretty fine fading Denver. I don't like what they have going on.
I kind of like the Denver fade.
feel like
Well,
Denver
Johnny,
faded.
let me ask you, John. Well,
Yeah.
why don't we just start right at the top with the QB whisper? Do you read? Is Jalen Hurts the guy? If you were doing one lineup, would it be?
That was the first name I put in my lineup was Jalen Hurts. I understand everyone's thought on the regular season. It's the playoffs now, and then knows how to play in the postseason. Their offense is still a wheelhouse from a skill position player standpoint. I understand the offensive line concerns, but it looks like Lane Johnson's going to be back. The first round defense, the 49ers are a terrible defense, and they're having to travel on the road. So I don't know. I like Jalen. I believe in the Eagles. But I've always been Team Hurts going back 5 years ago. So
We got one vote for Hurts. Howard, here's your chance to say you want Drake May. And
I do want. Listen. I have a lineup with Drake May already built, so I'm perfectly fine. Going with leaning towards the QB whisperer here and going with that. But I do have Drake May in one of my lineups here for the $200 contest. So I'm perfectly fine pivoting there, but I do like May.
Again,
I just don't like any of the other Patriots. Like
I want to be wild rod New England.
Ramondre?
I do. I want to sit here and tell you the Patriots are the best team in football. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to do all these things. I don't know. They've never done it before. They've sucked for 5 years.
Their odds of going to the Super Bowl are better than the Eagles at this moment.
I have a bet on the Patriots to win the Super Bowl that I made back in October.
All right, here we go. If we don't use Drake May,
yeah,
then are we locking into Ramondre Stevenson?
See, yeah.
Because that's the thing. I could go Hunter Henry, but I don't really feel the need to go Hunter Henry, especially not with a week 1 matchup facing Derwin James. So for me, it's either Drake May or Ramondre Stevenson from the Patriots. So it's if we go Hurts, then we're definitely locking in Ramondre as a running back.
I like Ramondre over May because I feel more confident that the Eagles will win round 1.
You feel more confident?
No love for Brock Purdy and company, huh?
I just don't. I feel like the Patriots are going to win. I want the Patriots to win. Maybe I have a homer block here where I'm trying to be unbiased and therefore I'm being too biased against my own team. But it just feels like if they're going to win this football game, they're going to do it on the ground. They're going to grind it out. They're going to play a bit conservative. May's never been in this moment before. There's going to be a lot of things I think they're going to try to protect him. And I'm worried about, Drake May having some nervous jitters here in the playoffs and, them kind of going and attacking him there. So
he was the better quarterback in fantasy than Jalen Hurts all year.
Sure.
That one.
Regular season's different than postseason. Jalen Hurts didn't play the easiest schedule in football dating back 30 years, so.
All right. Well, I like this reverse jinx by Johnny that he's doing here. So we'll go Jalen Hurts there.
And then we got a quick question we got to address real quick. Guys, what site for that company that sells those chains that you guys wear?
Oh my goodness, really? You don't know? Let me tell you guys here. If you're looking for it here, this is where we're at here. I'm clicking. Stop.
Right, you click it.
I just did.
I was trying to let you wear your chain. I was going to control.
That's wish you're getting everybody fighting around here.
There we go. For crying out loud. It's USA Sports Fan Chains. That's what you're looking for here. Go to fantasyalarm.com/USA Chains and use the promo code ALARM. You'll get 5% off. And then if you are within their window, which I think we still are, for no tax. So it actually becomes like a 10 to 12%. Hold on.
I'm trying to blow Howard up here. Hold on.
Put him up there.
I'm trying. It's there we go.
Boom. There it is. USA Sports Fan Chains. That's where you want to be. Adjustable, sturdy, lightweight, movable, and a fantastic thing to get the champion in your fantasy football league. Absolutely. Our friends over at USA Sports Fan Chains in our free one and done contest are going to also donate a chain to that winner as well. So you got this QR code right down here. Do yourself a favor. Go to fantasyalarm.com/USA Chains and get one for your league today.
Boom shakalaka.
No. Don't want me up here. Here we go.
Yeah, swap that out. There we go.
Good heavens.
Oh, wow. And while Howard was doing the whole thing on the chains, it looks like, what is it? Dalton Schultz ended up in the lineup. That's crazy.
Dalton Schultz snuck his way in there. Well, then put
Snuck
Ramondre in because I'm not dealing with another stupid Patriot.
Okay.
Get him in there.
Okay, so Ramondre's in. Now back to here to the sheet. We got to have a Ram, and we can't use Stafford now. All the quarterbacks are off the table. Is it Nakua, Adams, or Kyron, boys? We're already different enough with Ramondre. Like literally, just putting Ramondre in the lineup alone means that we can go pretty heavy chalk if we want.
You play JSN, you play Nakua.
Yeah, if you're going to play some chalk there, I think Nakua is definitely a guy that you want to add in there for sure. And then whatchamacallit, and then put James Cook in for running back as well off of Buffalo.
And Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, if you want to continue to go with chalk, you can definitely do that. I think you probably need like 2 or 3 good contrarian plays in your lineup, and then mix in a bunch of chalk.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just go through the studs that are left here. We have James Cook in. For running back, we can use Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, or Travis Etienne. Though I think we want to use Christian Watson, right?
I like
all three of us said we like Watson.
Good with
yeah. Watson for sure at wide receiver. I mean, a flex position. So let's go back to the lineup page, Coop, because I'm staring at this chart here.
Sorry, I was on the other page.
Of course you were.
By myself, and I'm like,
all alone.
What the heck is going on with you guys?
I like ETN in this round if we're gonna go there.
I like ETN too. I was gonna say that. So ETN we do like. Let's get this up. There we go.
Jackson Smith-Njigba, yes.
We have 2 flexes left on the lineup page here.
I think we said Swift out of Chicago, right?
Yeah. I think you're doing CMC and Swift as your final 2 there.
And I think
that's a lot of running backs.
It is a lot of running backs. But the alternatives are McMillan. Our alternatives would be fading the 49ers completely to use McMillan.
Well, that or you're moving off of like Swift ETN to play one of the wide receivers for Chicago or Jackson.
Yeah, you could flip off of ETN and go to like Parker Washington. You could flip off of Swift and do Luther Burden. Like those are definitely in play.
Or we could Swift off of CMC and go Juwan Jennings.
I don't think you want to not.
We've already bet on the Eagles to win.
That is true.
We were betting on the 49ers to lose week 1. We've already done that with this lineup. That's if the 49ers win this week, it doesn't matter. Then our lineup's dead.
That is true.
Why is it dead?
Because Jalen Hurts in a bad game, in a losing effort as our QB.
Jalen Hurts could throw 7 touchdown passes if he loses this week.
I forgot what I was saying.
Yeah.
How great is it going to be, Coop, that if the 49ers win, then we just get to abuse Johnny for
you can yell at me for it. That's fine.
Now through the rest of
I just wish the game was Saturday so we could do it sooner.
Jalen Hurts believer. So if you want, just move out Nakua, play Stafford, and play like AJ Brown.
No. We didn't want to do that. We want to do either May or Hurts. I'm with Hurts. I like this one. I think Hurts. I think Patriots Eagles Super Bowl rematch for the 3rd time would be great.
I also think that Hurts is going to be rather contrarian. So if you're trying to get different,
I agree with that, and I like that.
I also think I'll tell you what. I mean, I know that we're like run against Buffalo. ETN has not been all that great over the last couple of weeks, and they've definitely. I don't know if it's trying to get fresh legs in there, or if they really do believe in Bashaw Tootin near the goal line. I do feel like we could pivot off of ETN and go with a different wide receiver as well.
I think I think it's a good point. James Cook is probably not going to have the best game in a loss. So if our plan is Bills win, Jags lose, then I think Parker Washington here makes a lot of sense because he's getting 10 targets a game. Right?
I'm fine.
We're cool with that?
Yeah. Or we could just fade Buffalo altogether and splash in a Denver player.
I'm fading Buffalo in one of my lineups. I've already got that one in there.
I'm not opposed to it. I mean, like, there's only two guys at Buffalo you'd play. It's the quarterback or the running back. So if you're not playing the quarterback because you think they lose, do you think James Cook gets 200 in a score in a loss? Probably not. So
I think this looks great. I think the Bills are going to win. Like for this lineup, we say Bills win, right? We're saying Eagles win,
Eagles win, Pats win.
And then everything else, it doesn't necessarily matter. Bears win would be good for us, but it all checks out. Like that's the thing is you don't want to have things that like are like clash a little too much. Like Dalton Schultz could come out and have a really good game and a loss, and that would be fine. You know what I mean? So like, I think we're good. I think this lineup looks pretty good.
All right.
So let's lock it in, folks. If you want to lock down one of these lineups, if you're watching us do this and you're like, no, stupid, dumb, well, there's a good way for you to go in. And I'll even show you. I mean, it's just the playoff challenge. There's only one of them. I don't even have to show you the number. Go in there and create your own lineup. And if you want to do that, go to fantasyalarm.com/FFPC. Use promo code ALARM. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. For this one, I would deposit $175 at least because it's a $200 contest where you can win $500,000. And go in there and make, take the players you like from our lineup and then make your own and beat us. I mean, I'm not going to lie. People were doing that all year long on Friday. I kept challenging people to do that, Howard, and they did it like 3 times. Yeah. One time, I think it might have been Skinny or somebody went in and finished third, which not only got him in the money, but it pushed Bob Harris and I out of the money by 1 spot. So
there you go.
You know what? I'm willing to throw down the gauntlet. Come battle us. I'm going to put this whole chart up in an article with a little write-up for you guys. But that's how we're rocking. And I'm sure John, Howard, and I, right after the show, are going to go in and make our own lineups too with all the guys that we were caping up for because that's how it goes. So that's the official Fantasy Alarm lineup, folks. Any last thoughts you want to share with the people out there for this contest, for fantasy playoffs, for anything, boys?
No, I think I'm okay here. Although maybe I like Pittsburgh defense better than Denver defense. Just gonna say. You getting that one game from them? I don't know.
Last minute swap. John, what do you think?
I got nothing for you.
He's like, I want the Houston defense.
I want to use Houston defense.
We are landing on neutral
whatever
ground.
Defense you want. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
We're landing on neutral territory.
Tight end bully here was
let's just play the Eagles defense and we'll play Drake May.
Look, if we had put Drake May in there, we could have had Goddard in there. We got to make 3. I think that's it. We got to make 3 lineups, and that's why I think if it's your first time playing, then you got to go in and do a handful of the $35 ones. Make a couple lineups because I'll tell you, the guy that I went and looked at the guy that won last year, and I think in the $200 one, he made 3 lineups. One of them finished first. One of his lineups finished literally in the bottom 3% of teams. It was just a totally different lineup. It was terrible. Like, make a couple. That's kind of the way to get exposure and set yourself up. So
I think what we should do here, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think what we should do here is we have this lineup here. Each one of us should submit to the other two a lineup that goes along with what we've talked about here, but, maybe make some changes in this, and then we can talk it through. And then maybe on Friday on the Fantasy Alarm Show, maybe we just take a quick segment there and we finalize this lineup there.
Okay. All right, we'll revisit. Maybe we'll have multiple lineups we share. So we will revisit this one. I'll tell you, this one as it is, though, I like it. I think this could be a $500,000 lineup. So I don't know if we want to tinker from what we got here. We could have a lot of regrets. But anyway, we're over time here. That's it for us, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on your way out. Make sure you support our friends over at USA Sports Fan Chains. Get yourself one of those. Get set up at myffpc.com, and hopefully one of you guys takes it down, wins $500,000 bones. So thank you very much for us. But from me, from Howard, from John.
Adios, turd nuggets.